Good evening, everyone. Welcome to class.
Yeah, good evening.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good to have you in class.
Thank
All
you.
right, so we're starting training all over, actually. We're just starting all over. Yesterday was just introduction. I don't mind repeating all of that, especially for the 2 persons just joining class today. Let's see. Okay. All right, if we're ready, let's go. How many are we? Like, okay. The rest will join us. So let me share screen. Let me share that. Okay. There we go. Are we ready? All right, so we'll be going through this entire training program. It's a 5-month course, and it will take us through the following training modules. The training modules we'll be going through are 1, Linux. By the time you complete Linux as a course, you will become Linux system. Hope you can see my screen. You see me right here? Administrator. And then after that, can you see me? Can you hear me? Everything good?
Yes, yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yes.
So after that first course, we'll move over to the next course. The next course is called AWS. This is a 1-month course. After that, we'll move to AWS. AWS, by the time you complete that particular course, it will become half-baked AWS, or no, it become a cloud solution architect. That's a 1-month course. Cloud solution architect that is able to architect cloud solutions manually. And then after that, we'll move to the third course, which is infrastructure as code. Infrastructure as code will help you run scripts that will perform this same task. These tasks that you already know to perform manually here, this course will teach you to run scripts. Otherwise referred here to as code. And that will help you automate this knowledge, these skills that you already gained there. You know to automate this process. It's no longer manual. And it is at this point of automation that you can begin to say, I'm an IT professional, and I'm looking for, specifically, you are a cloud professional, and you are looking for a job. Before then, you are not really ready for the job market. Just like just before I came into class, somebody just one of the existing training barely completed it because he had issues, and then completed this, and he just starting this. In fact, he has only had 1 lecture here, and then he sent me a JD that requires that you have completed DevOps training and even gain you'd have gained some experience before you qualify for that role. No, you're not ready for that role when you have not even done the training, not to talk of practice. All right, it's only at this level. So minimally, you would have completed these 3 subjects, these 3 modules before you now say, yes, I'm looking for it. But we actually advise you, because the competition in the market is very strong, because these days, even if they call the, like one of you contributed yesterday, even if they call the job title Linux or simply AWS Solutions Architect, in actual fact, the requirement will be such that you need the skills from the course that I have called DevOps 1 to do that. And it's just for the purpose of separating them into months that I've called one DevOps 1 and the other one DevOps 2. Together, these make you a DevOps engineer. In other words, yeah, we'll learn what DevOps engineer is, DevOps engineer. And this is where you move from the crowd to the mid-class people like that to become this highly sought after IT professional. All right. We want to move you all the way from knowing nothing at that base level to becoming a pro that is highly sought after at that apex level. Any question? Now you know the 5 courses we'll be going through month by month, so that at the end of the 5th month, you'd have covered everything that I have to teach you to make you a DevOps engineer. And then in the process, and especially in these last 2 courses, I'll be sharing with you resume that already have the job titles and job roles and responsibilities that match that role. And then I have thousands of interview questions that I'll be sharing with you. But many of them will be discussing them in class, but I'll also give you a 200-page document that has all the possible interview questions anybody can ask you from anywhere, especially in fact, more than you need, but you just extract the parts that we have covered in class that you need. So resume, interview questions, and then of course, as this is a mentoring class, and then we're in class together. From this level, I will begin to drill you. Yeah, I'll begin to drill you in class, even more than the interviewer will drill you, passing across not just the scenario and interview environment, but also because, like I said, I personally have attended so many interviews on your behalf. I'll be doing mock interviews along the way. All right. So it's not like a one-off thing at the end of the training. It comes as we go. And then at the end of that, all on top of that. All right. So these are bonuses. And of course, 1 or 2 links to where you can possibly apply for a job. But the best and the most effective of them all is still LinkedIn. LinkedIn, okay. So this resume will help you build your profile in LinkedIn so that you are not the one applying for jobs, but recruiters will be calling you based on the resume that you have displayed in your profile. All right. So your focus is your goal is to focus on all of these subjects and know them enough to be able to defend what I have prepared here for you. All right. Makes sense? Any question?
Yeah, Mr. Akin.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening. So thank you very much. Okay, so personally, I'm into agile project management, let's say Scrum mastering.
Okay.
And honestly speaking, the reason why I'm taking up this course is over the last few weeks, I've had a couple of interviews, and I've realized that the challenge I'm having has to do with the fact that I've not worked with IT teams that are working on DevOps projects. And so I realize I would need to be in that space to be able to understand the languages and everything. And so I'm wondering if after maybe the third course, which is the infrastructure as code, you think I'll be in a better position, because I'm not really looking at going in for DevOps as a, as a role, but then, Scrum Master, and then I just want to leverage, the knowledge from this training to be able to land a role as a Scrum Master.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So right now I thought you were already working as a Scrum Master right now.
I've worked as a Scrum Master, but not in an IT domain. The ones I did in IT were more of freelancing, so they were not really concrete, like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this a bit on it's different from the usual experience I have, which is that Scrum Masters and Agile people want to move on to become tech people, and therefore, when they supervise and they define when they manage developers at this level, they wonder, okay, what exactly do they do technically to be able to align with whatever your sprint and all of the programs that you have learned as a Scrum Master.
Yeah.
And then they want to go all the way to DevOps. But now what you want is to retain your position and your role as a Scrum Master, but just have enough technical in-depth to be able to, not just to understand, but to be able to fit better in that role, right?
Yes, please. Honestly, I don't mind finishing the entire program, finishing all the DevOps. Well, you never know. Maybe in the near future, I may, gravitate towards DevOps engineer. But then, unless immediately, I think I'm looking at just having, better understanding of, like you said, what's the technical team is doing, like based on these DevOps, the coding and all that, to be able to really fit in there.
Okay, so yeah, let's see how it goes. But let's see how it goes.
Sure.
But the real IT, the project, being part of a project and initiating and being part of the team that would deploy, not just develop the application, but go all the way to deploy the application into production. This is the real place. So when you say, I'm afraid this is the real place, even as it relates to Scrum, this is where the project is. This is the application. This is where you are talking to stakeholders, you are managing developers, you are holding meetings, you are doing your business, you're working with your business analysts and your project managers. This is where the thing is. This is the real place.
Okay, so let's go for it then.
As a Scrum person, this is where you really need to understand what they are doing and have a good understanding of, oh, this is the goal, and therefore this is where we are going, because it's continuous, what they call in Japan, Japanese culture, Kaizen. Okay, this is the next level. We want to move this to G2. Therefore, how do we get there? Let's break it into 2-week sprint of 18 units. And therefore, this is what I expect. This is the result I expect you to get there. Okay, everybody, are we there? Oh, yes, we are there. It's good. Let's build another level. All of that language is around here.
Yeah, sure. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. But
all right, thank you.
Having said that, we just see how it goes as we start writing. Yes, somebody was going to ask this.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Akin. It's okay. Yeah, it's okay now. And like I explained to you earlier, I'm not trying to be a DevOps engineer. I told you that I wrote the AWS practitioner exam and the associate exam, and I passed it, but I just realized that it's not just about passing the certificates, that I need some. It's about what I actually want to do is just be like an architect that designs what like the customer requirements that
Mhm.
designs it before the DevOps deploys it. I'm not trying to deploy. I don't want to do that. It's not my interest. It's not what I want to do. And from what you just said here, I understand that the first three should be what will work for me, right?
It's up to you. It's
No,
up
I'm
to you.
asking.
But the general,
I'm asking. I'm
no,
asking for like your expatriate advice. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying
my
because like
advice is, yeah, actually already gave that. My advice is, irrespective of, in fact, when they want to hire you for a role that is related to any of these 5 courses, it can come with any nomenclature. They can even call you Linux administrator. They can call you a simple title, a title as simple as cloud automation, even cloud engineer, without being specific. But in actual fact, they are looking for a whole IT department in you. They are looking for you to be able to do more things than one man is capable of doing. So what am I saying? What am I saying with all of that English? I'm saying that in reality, even though it appears that, oh, once I know this, I am good and I'm fit, in reality, the requirement, what the job really entails to make you comfortable would necessitate you having knowledge of what we are. It's just us calling it DevOps. Yeah. In the person who is hiring may not necessarily call it DevOps, but the course content, whatever we are doing here, they could summarize all of those course content into cloud automation and tell you they are looking for cloud automation. And meanwhile, because you have done infrastructure as code, you think you fit in. But it's not really so. So not to talk too much, the point I'm making is you are not really, irrespective of what, this is my opinion, not general, based on the experiences that I've had, especially in the last 4 years around this area, irrespective of what they call that title, you ultimately would require the skill and knowledge you would gain from DevOps 1 and 2 to be able to even do well as a cloud infrastructure engineer. That is the reality. They will not tell you. They will tell you, they may say we are looking for AWS solutions architect. So in your mind, you are just here to do this AWS. But when you return to the job market to say, oh, I now have AWS, that is when you begin to hear stories about, oh, can you do this? I mean, take a typical cloud solutions architect role. Just Google it and take it, and you see, although you do not know at this moment what we'll be studying here, but I bet you are going to see at least 5 different roles that this course would not have taught you, but they require you to know it to be cloud solutions architect. All right, so basically I'm saying, if you can, if the time is not an issue, if you have the time and money is not an issue, for you to say, I'm ready for the job market, you need to do this. However, it is not out of place to find people getting job at this level. It is possible because you are at mid-level. But because the competition out there is very stiff, if you can acquire this, then just acquire it and know that you are fully in the job market and not one leg in, one leg out. If it now happens that, oh, ultimately you did not need all of the things that you learned here based on the specific role, oh, good. But at interviews, especially with the funds, they want to stretch in all angles just to make sure, first of all, not necessarily that you know everything, but you're adaptable, you know just enough basis to be able to understand everything. And whatever they now push you to say, okay, we're going to have you in this role, you can adapt. Oh, we're not going to have you there in Terraform, we're now moving you to CI/CD, you can adapt. Oh, the CI/CD department is closing. What we want you to do is just manage the security system of our infrastructure using Linux, you can adapt. I don't know if that answered the question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but again, let us start. By the time we start with this and you understand it so well, we start with this, you understand it so well, we start with this. And because I said at that level, you can put one leg in the market, who knows? I mean, we've had many trainings who, even though completed the training ultimately, when I say many, not like 40% of trainings getting job at this level. But I want to believe that they also had done so much practice on their part, not completely because of what they learned from. Just like some of you guys are already sharing, some of you already know some of this stuff. We are just here to cross the T's and dot the I's and gain a portfolio of projects that you can claim, especially that you want to practice. And all of that is at this level. At this level, there are not really projects that you can claim I completed from beginning to end. Even when you complete this infrastructure as code at this level, that is good. But what code is, what application is running in those infrastructure for us to know that this infrastructure was actually well coded? You have to run codes, applications in them. So it is at this level that we begin to talk about the development team working with the operations team to manage application. This is otherwise everything else is not complete. All right. So
thank you.
You're welcome. Some of us have zero. Yeah, we're starting with zero knowledge. We're starting. That's what we're starting to this class because of this. So that from zero knowledge, we'll build you from that level. Okay, let's start. So that was just an overview of the different courses that we'll be covering in the next 5 months. Specifically, let's go back to the first one, Linux, the one that we call Linux operating system. All right, so let's delete this. So why are we doing Linux? When IT started, not even when it started, it still starts with your laptop right there, right? You are working, my assumption is you have your laptop. So what you have in your laptop is the hardware part of IT. So you have your host, right? Your hardware, your laptop. Or if it wasn't just you as a single person working from a machine, if it was a corporate organization or a big firm like T-Mobile, for example, it will not just be laptop. It will be a gathering of so many computers, so many laptops connected and working together to form what you would generally call data center. All right, center, all right. So this is your hardware, your physical computer. So working at this level, especially from the, so there's a level of IT where you work with physical systems, all right? Your physical system in your own case, your host will be your laptop. Like I said, if we are running services for millions of customers, like T-Mobile with over 400 million customers, then your laptop will not do to manage the resources. You need a whole lot of laptops working together in form of a network. Don't worry, we'll still talk about computer later. All right. Then the next thing you do with this is that we're looking at it from the engineering perspective now, you as engineers, not just as user. So the next thing is, on top of these physical systems, you are going to generate as many virtual systems as possible. So even though you have one laptop in your own case, it is possible to have many virtual laptops on top of your single physical laptop. These virtual laptops, these virtual computers that you create out of your singular physical computer are called virtual machines. So we have a virtual machine, and so on. We have as many virtual machines as the resources of this hardware will allow you. And when we talk about resources of the hardware, we basically mean the memory of the computer, the processor, CPU, central processing unit of the computer, and then, of course, the storage of the computer. When it says resources, it has to do. All right, so you can create many virtual machines through the concept called virtualization. Virtualization. All right. And for virtualization, okay. So yeah, just try not to introduce too many vocabularies at all, but what do we cover? All right. So, but if it is not your own small case of a laptop running multiple virtual machines, if it was the case of a data center running billions, millions, thousands of virtual machines, there, this virtualization concept will be presented not just as virtualization, but as what we refer to now as cloud. Cloud. So in other words, cloud services would be data center hardware resources being made available as virtual machines that customers can now connect to. I mean, people from all over the world can connect to and run from their own laptop as if they were connected to another. In fact, it's actually another computer. It's not as if. It's just that that other computer is not physical, it's virtual. All right. So these days, we are mostly working at this level of virtualization, leaving this one to the days, old school, the days before now. But right now, it's about cloud virtualization. So cloud is a child, it's a product of virtualization. So cloud is at the virtualization level. So what we can do with physical system, driving all the way to Arizona, to New York, to the physical office, to have access to physical systems is becoming old school. Rather, being virtual and being in cloud, we can now access remotely. And this is the boost of remote jobs. And of course, because of this, we now have millions access to million times the resources in cloud, in virtualization, than we had access to when we are dealing with physical systems. All right. So the newest person to IT here in class, are you following me? Making sense of? Let me know so that I know whether to go lower or to maintain this speed.
Yes, we're good.
The person who said is completely new to IT. Are you getting what we are discussing so far?
So far, so good.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah. All right. That must be Jumoke, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, yeah, we can stop there, but just for the record, there's actually another level of IT that we are ultimately going to. It is at that level that you now begin to say, yes, I'm ready for the market. It is now also possible for us to take one virtual machine and again build many, let me take a different color, build, okay. Out of a single virtual machine, we can now build many. For now, let me hide the name and still call it virtual machine. Many virtual machines from a single virtual machine, so that instead of running 20 virtual machines to run 20 applications, you can now run a single virtual machine and build 20 virtual machines out of that single virtual machine, so that you can now run 20 applications within this virtual machine. So at this level, we don't call these ones virtual machines anymore. We simply call this thing that I called virtual machine earlier on, we call it containers. So at this level, if you wanted to deploy an Uber application, somebody has created an application that is able to, as a solution to one life problem, maybe taxi problem, and calls it Uber. Another person created an application for dating. Instead of hosting it on this virtual machine, What we do now is we create multiple containers out of the virtual machine and run the application here. Run another application here. Run another application here. Maybe the database that supports this application, we put it here. The front end of this application, we put it here. The back end, we put it here. The backup of the application, so that in case, so that where you would have needed 20 different computers at this level, we're now using not just one computer, but one of the many virtual machines on that computer to perform the task. Is it at this level now that we'll talk about containerization using, I don't know, you may not have heard the terms before, Docker, and then the biggest of all technologies existing today, as far as I know. That technology is called Kubernetes. It is this level. It is at this level that it operates, helping you to manage your thousands of containers that you created at all. So when you move from this first level to this medium level, you are good. But by the time you move from this medium level to this high level, where you're able to deploy applications in containers, then no employer at that level, you are saying, yes, you are right for job. This is the confidence level. Now you are just beginning to understand why I said it is at the DevOps level that your confidence really gets its peak, and you are ready. At this level, you still feel. And the funny thing is, when employers are looking for even people at this level, they expect them to know something at this level, even though they call the name at this level. And then they begin to ask you, okay, we said we are looking for cloud solutions architect, but do you know how to containerize? They may not use those words exactly. But by the time they mention Kubernetes, or they mention Docker Swarm, or they mention Docker, or there are terms they will mention, and then you know they are talking about this level. But if you know, I don't know it, therefore I'm not qualified. No, we don't want to. That's not what we want for you. We want you to know everything you should know, so that nobody will ever tell you out there you are not qualified. It will just be a matter of practicing whatever you have there. All right. So this is part of the overview, just to make you understand. So this also is available on top of virtual machine, which is available. In other words, you can access that through remotely. Not just accessing, you can actually create. You actually create this from your machine in your room remotely, because you are not physically in the data center that hosts it. So you are connecting remotely to this machine, and you are creating containers out of that machine. These are the things you will be able to do as part of this thing. But it's not enough to create containers, empty containers. What you want to do is take that Uber application, deploy it, that is, put it in this container, make sure the entire environment is right in terms of networking, in terms of security, in terms of reliability, in terms of high availability, and so on and so forth. All of those things you are going to learn. So that by the time you now launch this application to the world, and 1.2 billion people are connecting to this application like Uber, this application does not crash under the pressure of 1 million people trying to connect to it simultaneously, like it used to happen here. We talk about servers crashing or servers down. All right. You are still copying? You are still following?
Can I ask a question? So why is there, just to make me understand the containerization better, is there any reason why the containers could not have been kept in the virtual machines, say to house the Uber app from there?
They are in the virtual machines.
Okay, I thought
Containers came out of.
They came out of there, right? So
Yeah.
they are separate.
Sorry?
Are they separate from it?
No, containers are like rooms in your house. So the house is your virtual machine. And then when you partition your virtual machines into so many rooms, the containers
Okay.
are below.
Okay, all right.
In that case,
Okay.
with that analogy, your data center is the land on which you build the houses. These are the houses, this is the land, and these are the rooms inside the house.
Okay. Okay, understood.
All right. Yeah, any other question to help you understand what we discussed so far? Actually, the interview starts from the point of understanding this whole big picture and not just what is Linux, what do you, no. You have to know the place of Linux in this picture, in this arrangement. So you don't learn Linux in isolation, you don't learn AWS, you don't learn any of those courses in isolation. You learn them relative to, oh, this is where that skill is useful, this is where that knowledge, this is where I belong. But so you should understand. All right, so still following? Jumoka, are you still following? Okay, it's time to ask your questions. All right, anybody now, so I don't put too much pressure on one person, on what we have on screen here. When I say system resources, what do I mean by system resources? Anybody?
So system resources, I think you're talking about like the capacity of the system.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, maybe the CPU, the storage, the memory and all that.
Yes. So by system resources, specifically, yeah, the first part was good. I understood that, but that was English. It wouldn't have been complete without you mentioning this thing. So system resources, I mean the memory of the system, this processor, the capacity of the processor, and the storage. These are the factors that help me determine, like you said, the capacity, the power, the robustness, how big or how small that system is. In this case, my system could be as simple as laptop, as complex as a whole data set. Good. All right. So what's your understanding of the term cloud? What do we mean by cloud? Anybody?
Yeah, it's a virtual data center.
All right. The mention of virtual there tells me that you understand, right? Virtualization, virtual, yes. So I'll take that because you mentioned virtual, correct. How the other people are following? Correct. So what do I ask again? When you virtualize the services of a data center, what do you have? When you have, okay, that's not enough. Let me add more. When you virtualize the services of a data center and then make those services available to the public over the internet, what is the resulting technology called?
The container.
No, I'm saying you have this data center, and then, like somebody already explained, we virtualize the services that you could have come here physically to accomplish. We virtualize those services and make them now available as virtual machines. So this virtual machine, by the concept of virtualization, the services are now made available to the general public, and they can now access those services in the virtual machine remotely from their own through the internet. What is this concept called?
It's virtualization.
That concept was achieved by virtualization, but what is the
That's called
result?
cloud.
Cloud.
Mm.
Cloud. Yeah. So these terms are confusing or apparently, but only person who really understands would be, okay, there's difference between, so the general concept is virtualization, but specifically the product that results from that virtualization. So cloud is the word I was looking for. All right, I'll not bother you with containers now, it's a bit complex. So let us know. All right, any question? No question. All right, let's move on. Now, what is the place of Linux in all of these jargons? Everything we're talking about. Okay, so why are we learning Linux then? I mean, why do I need to learn Linux? So the place of Linux there is that Maybe I shouldn't have that. Let me see. Okay. So the place of Linux here is this. When we have
Mr. Aki, can I ask a question?
yes, please.
Okay, so based on this diagram we have here now, so from the virtual machines, you said that from the virtual machines you can now have like other virtual machines, or you call it container, whereby you can say, okay, I'm gonna deploy this in this particular container and this in this particular container and all that. So can you still have like different containers on different virtual machines running in the same data center?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so that means that if you have like, let me say, 5 virtual machines, you can still have like 20 containers in each of them.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. And you are going to do it. You are going to do it in DevOps. All right, good. Now, what is the place of Linux here? So, listen carefully, especially the newcomers. Now, this is the place of Linux. Now, when you are here, this data center is in Arizona or non-Virginia, like you, non-Virginia somewhere, like you would learn when we go into cloud. There are regional centers across the globe. But for now, let's just say it's in Dallas. So this is in Dallas, and then you are in Ohio, and then you are working from your room, and this is your laptop. All right, this is your laptop. And that's you sitting. Okay, so that's you sitting right there, working on your laptop in Ohio, on your bedroom. Get it? Now, this virtual machine, it's not just a laptop. This virtual machine you will see in cloud can support. So let me not bother you with this advanced concept of container. Let's stop here. So I put my Uber application, or what's another big application? Zoom. We're using Zoom right now. So as I'm connected to Zoom now, and you guys are connected to Zoom, we're having this meeting, there are millions of other Zoom customers connected to Zoom all over the world. So even as I'm having this session with you, my assumption is there are at least 2 million other customers connected to this same Zoom app. And Zoom is deployed here in this virtual machine. I think Zoom is deployed in the AWS, or Netflix, or any of those big apps. Are you getting my scenario now?
Sure.
So Zoom is deployed here. So how many customers are connected to Zoom? Is it 3,000, 3 million, 3 billion? Choose the one that you feel is most appropriate, most correct answer. I mean, it's a guess. There's no correct answer. Just pick anyone you are comfortable. Sorry?
Like 3 million or 3 billion? Like 3
Correct.
million?
Let's work with 3 million. So there are 3 million subscribers. Of course, they are not wired, but for the sake of so that you see it, connected to Zoom at the same time, accessing this application here. All right. So Zoom has to have, this virtual machine is Zoom, has to have a central software that you configure what you need this machine to be able to do. And once you configure it centrally, automatically that desire, that result that you want to achieve is achieved for all of the 3 million customers that are connected to this. So there is a central software inside this machine that manages the machine. And by managing the machine, also determines what happens on the application, and therefore invariably, ultimately, at the customer's end as far as accessing and using the application is concerned. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get that if you have a hotel of 3,000 rooms, there must be some central place from where you can manage all of those 3,000 rooms. And say you dispatch food to room 24, you send cleaner to room 35, and then when the room is clean, they update the central database to say, okay, this room is clean now. The last guest checked out at so time. So there's a central system that you can look at, and you have a good overview of the management situation of that hotel. For example, I mean, just looking for something that you can relate to. So also here, there is a software that is resident in this machine, and from where you can manage the entire machine, and invariably all of the guests to that machine. That central software is generally called operating system. So every machine has an operating system, OS, for the newcomers to IT. So even on your own laptop, you have an operating system that manages the entire content and the working of your laptop. Your operating system is Windows. Could be Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows anything. But generally, laptops, generally, 80 to at least 80% of the time, the operating system will be managed by Windows. Some 20, 30% of the time, it will be Mac. And then very occasionally, on top of those, you can have maybe Linux. Are you getting it so far, the people that are new to IT?
Yes.
So can you give me an example, just one example of operating system? When I say operating system, one example?
You just said Windows.
Correct. Yeah, I know I just said it, but I just wanted to know that you're following. All right, so Windows. But for this machine, this virtual machine that is managing 3 million customers, Windows will not work. Windows will crash. It's too much load for the Windows operating system. Windows operating system is reserved for small jobs like 10,000 customers or less. When you begin to talk about millions of customers, the load is too much for Windows. There is now a lighter, more robust, or better scaled operating system that is going to replace Windows on this virtual machine when it comes to managing millions of customers. In the first place, the fact that this virtual machine is managing millions of customers, we call that virtual machine server, because it's managing an application that many people will be connecting to. So these people will be clients or customers, but this machine will be servicing them, will be serving them. So it's called server. And because Windows operating system will not do the work, the most generally, the option, the upgrade, the alternative to Windows operating system that will do it here is Linux. So, and what is it? An operating system. So we're having Linux server operating system. And because this is not just a server, yeah, let's stop there. Let's just have that sync. So if Zoom is going to employ you to do anything on this server, whatever there are lots of jobs, I can bring out 25 different job roles on this server, not just one person. So Zoom can have up to 2,500 employees managing their servers. Anyway, but come back to come. So irrespective of what role you'll be performing here for Zoom on this server, you should learn how to use the manager and the central software on which the entire server depends. So that is why you need to learn Linux operating system as the server that manages, as the operating system that manages your servers. Whether that server is Zoom, whether it's running on a virtual washing, or it's running on what's the opposite of virtual, on a physical machine, or it's running in container, or whatever it is running, you need to learn how to use it. Do you now see the place of Linux?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So that is why we need to learn Linux, so that irrespective of what server we go into, whether it's Facebook server, Google server, Linux, Zoo, Uber, and all of these other big names that you intend to work for, at least you can look at, you'll be able to manage the server on a high level. So for that reason, we're going to learn Linux operating system to be able to go into server. All right, questions? Questions?
So,
You could also, yes.
Question. So, Linux operating server operating system is will be called, like will be downloaded on your virtual machine, right?
Yes. It comes with your virtual machine.
So let's assume you're working for a company. So when they give you that specification, okay, you're working with Linux, that they must have downloaded it there for you, or are you going to run it yourself?
I'll show you how to do it. We are going to do it. It's just one click, just one single click of a button, and it's done.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to do the practicals. We're going to cloud, and then we'll do this. May not be today, but we just need to get this basis.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Any other question? Okay. So who can tell me now? What is Linux operating system? Not from book or from Google. I mean, from your understanding on what we just discussed, especially the newcomer.
Let me try.
Yeah.
So it's the operating system that has the ability and the capability to be able to manage either a virtual machine or a container to be able to serve millions of clients, which
Correct.
could be customers.
Yes, yeah. Yes, you captured it. You captured the essence. Yeah, your definition is good, even though it was a bit too long for me, but I was able to capture. So when we ask questions in IT, all I'm looking out for is keywords. So we're able to capture the keywords that I was looking for. So first of all, you said it's an operating system and it's a server operating system, or better still, a network operating system. So instead of server, because Windows is also a server operating system, to distinguish, to differentiate, we generally want to call the Linux operating system a network operating system. All right, so yeah. And then you mentioned that, yeah, you mentioned service somewhere, which means server. Yeah, that was good.
Serve millions of clients.
Millions of clients, yes, correct. So that number tells me that, oh, we're not just talking about 5, 7, or even 10,000 like Windows would do. We're talking about millions. Yeah, correct. Correct. All right. How does Windows, can you distinguish between Windows or yeah, anyhow you want to. Let me just leave it with between Windows operating system and Linux operating system?
So Windows is on the client side,
okay.
And which is your computer, and Linux is on the enterprise side, which is like a foundation for other people to connect to and work.
Okay. So Windows is on the client side. Good, yeah, I like that. But there's the Linux part. Even though I understand what you meant, when you say Windows on the client side, what's the opposite of client? So then Linux is on what side now? Can you come back with?
Maybe organization, a company side. Enterprise, yeah. Enterprise server side.
Server
yeah.
is better. Yeah, server side. Yeah, even though I understand what you mean by enterprise, yes. So Windows on the client side, so Linux is on the server side. So Linux is the operating system that runs the server engine, whereas Windows is the operating system that runs the client side. Correct. Correct. I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other distinction? Any other way to differentiate between Windows and Linux? All right. Somebody already said Linux will take millions of concurrent sessions, but Windows has limit. Just to give you an idea of the limit, we mentioned 10,000. You know, like I said yesterday, it may not necessarily, in reality, may not be up to that. Any other? Yeah, those are the two basic things. Me at this level, of course, by the time we start to use Linux, you'll be able to tell me more. By the time you have more experience. All right.
So isn't Linux like code programming based, and Windows is in terms of what it looks like, more like using an app kind of thing?
Yes, yes. I was leaving that because some of you have not even seen it before. So what I guess what you are trying to say is that Windows is graphic user interface. Windows is GUI, whereas Linux as an operating system is command line interface. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, because I've seen the. So, for instance, when you're doing those IP config thing on your laptop, that interface, that command line interface, that's kind of like a Linux interface, right?
Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see Linux right away. So no need to guess. But I get this, but I will explain this later after we have seen Linux. But it's good that you know that. Yes, I will explain this. Because you have not seen Linux now. So why talk about what? I think, yeah, we'll see Linux today. Don't worry. All right. So any other contribution or question? All right, no questions. Let's do a bit of practicals now. So what we want to do what we want to do now is go straight into cloud, even though we have not started cloud, and set up a virtual machine in cloud and run Linux on it. Normally we'll keep this for the second month of training, but IT, so many things are coming up in IT almost on a daily basis, so much to learn. So why spend time doing theory or practical that employers are not necessarily looking for? So let us go straight to what they are looking for and save ourselves all of the time with. All right, so to do that, I think we need to do a bit more theory. So there are three popular public cloud service providers, and they are Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. I'm saying cloud service providers. So these people own data centers that have been virtualized to give cloud services to the public. The cloud that results from that service in Amazon is called AWS, Amazon Web Services. From Microsoft is called Microsoft Azure. And from Google is called Google Cloud Platform. So these are the three. This one.
Did you say Azure?
Did I say what?
Azure or Azure?
Well, I think the more common pronunciation is Azure.
Okay.
Yeah, just the way it's pronounced. Yeah. All right. So, Amazon will take like 60% of the market share, and this one, the last time I checked, I don't know if it was something around that. This one will take like 30% or 30, actually like 33%, but let's just say 30% of the market share. And this guy will take like 15 also, 19. Okay, the remaining is 10. Actually, it's like 15, 33, 50, 57, something like that. Well, the point I'm making is that because Amazon is the biggest cloud, in fact, they started cloud, to be honest, is the biggest cloud service provider. Anytime we are referring to cloud, we prefer to use this. We prefer to, is the biggest, and therefore, when I say 57%, I mean that out of every 10 employers, 6 employers will be using Amazon services. That's what I mean. So where do you want to go? You want to learn something that the most employers are using because we are looking for job with them, all right? So this is the reason we have chosen AWS as our cloud. So when I say cloud, without specifically referring to which of the platforms I'm using, I mean AWS. So what I need us to do now is go into AWS, create an account so that we can begin to use the services of AWS. Again, there is a special course that will take us in depth into the services of AWS. But for now, all we want to do is create a virtual machine, as we mentioned earlier on, and put Linux as the manager of that virtual machine and log into that Linux and begin to use it to learn how to control the entire machine using Linux commands. We'll be learning Linux commands for free, because when you create a brand new AWS account, you are given 750 hours per month to practice, to learn for free. Whatever, well, I wanted to say whatever you want to learn. No, not whatever. There's limit to what you allow. I'll show you when we get there. So some things you are charged, but most basic things at this level, you'll be allowed to practice for free. So the whole idea is to get many people be able to use these AWS services, many people as possible to be able to use and convert them to. And even this guy, all of them, they have free services. At some point when we get really, really advanced at DevOps 2 level, we are going to use the free service in Google to create our Kubernetes and manage our Kubernetes. But for now, it's AWS. All right. But even though AWS services is free, you will need your debit or credit card to set up the account, even though they are not taking money. But if you use services that are not free tier, that are not free of charge, then your card will be charged. Are we still following? Who is the other new person apart from is it Femi? Apart from Jumoke? Who else is completely new here?
Emmanuel is completely new.
Oh, okay. Who is? Who is I?
This is Jimmy.
All right, Jimmy, you still have not changed your name. Okay. So most questions will be targeted to you guys. Well, Emmanuel appears to.
I couldn't change my name.
You changed it?
I couldn't.
Oh, you still couldn't, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought when you log out, you'd be able to.
No. I normally there's something that shows rename, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I just done it now. Do you see it now? Do you see that your name has changed?
Yeah, please do JIMI, not MMY.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. What is it? JIMY or MI?
MI.
MI, okay. All right. All right. So Emmanuel, Jimmy, you are under the question can be targeted at you so that I know when you are coping.
Okay.
Or when the English is too much, or when the vocabs are too much, then we'll review. All right, so let's go to Microsoft Azure. I'm sorry. Let's go to Amazon Web Services to create our account and then spin up a server, run Linux operating system on it, and begin to practice Linux. But before then, let me quickly open. Can you see my screen? This is not actually for you. I just want to open the notes that we have to guide us And this is Lineage, and then this is our note. Every one of you would have a copy of this note. So this is what we'll be covering. Can you see my note?
No.
Oh, you can't see my note. Okay, let me show. Can you see my notes now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this will be covering in Lineage. All right. Introduction, blah, blah, blah. All right. So now let us start. So we're going to cover everything, 32-page manual. I'll send you guys a copy of the manual after this class so that you can begin to practice on your own as well. Whatever we do in class, that is all that you practice on your own. If you don't get it, the videos will be available. Watch the video over and over and over until you're able to do it. It's not actually the whole 32 pages that the class talks. Yeah, what page is this? Page 25, and then we'll have additional pages just trying to give you sample interview questions within the context that we'll cover in this minute. All right, so that's your manual. And deliberately, I'll be copying and pasting here just to prove to you that the manual is working and everything is up to date. All right, so introduction to minutes, blah, 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 and so on and so forth. Okay, let's go. We'll go to share, we'll go to AWS, load our browser, and I go to aws.amazon.com. This is the URL to Amazon Cloud, aws.amazon.com. So I press enter. I will not be able to create a new account. So is anybody on their system right now to create a new account? Yeah. I already have so many accounts. So what you do is, yeah, okay. So you see my pointer, my mouse pointer. Instead of signing to the console, if you don't already have an account, what does it show you there?
Create an AWS account. Should I share the screen?
No, no need. Okay. So just go on, create the account. So if you see that, click it, and then it will allow you to create a new account. And then fill the form like you are creating an email account. All right, so create a new account. And then fill the form, your name, your address, your whatever you request. Complete the form, and then click next to the next. This is the account you'll be using throughout the training and even beyond the training, unless you decide that you don't need it anymore and then you cancel. You close the account. Who else is trying to create a new account?
Emmanuel.
All right, Emmanuel and Jimmy. All right, so we can work with this.
Quick question. So are we using the root user email address?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
That means you already have an account, right?
I used to, but not anymore.
Okay. Yeah, root user email.
Yeah, he said I have an account, something, sign into the account.
Okay, hopefully you remember your password. Yes, you can use your existing account, or you create a new one.
Free stuff on it?
I don't know. Normally that free stuff is for the first 1 year. So if you are not sure, maybe you just create a new account with a new email address.
Or with a different email, yeah.
Yes.
So it says, how do you plan to use AWS? It's personal, right?
Yes, personal.
Mr. Akin?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, for this creating of account, are we going to use the root account or can we use a user account?
Use root account.
All right.
Anyone got to the point where it's asking for payment card?
Yes.
Okay.
So they won't take out my money, right?
No. It's just a precaution. If you do what is not free, then we'll take your money. They'll send you an invoice at the end of it.
Please, let me bring my wallet in the car.
All right, so who is not on their laptop creating account? Is everybody trying to create an account? Somebody's not here. Who is missing? Celia. Who is Celia? Who is Celia? What's your full name, Celia? Where's Runke? Celia, can you say something? Let me hear you. She are not in a position. Let me see. Did you send the chat? I'm at work. Okay. So, okay. I think I know who's not here. It's Runke.
Sorry, Mr. Akin, so we go for is it a basic support free?
Yes, free. The free.
No.
Yeah, go for free. Anything, anywhere there's the option of free, always go for. Oh, got you, Priscilla. Has anyone completed the sign up process?
Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Let's wait for one more person to complete. What about people that are completely new to IT? Of course, Emmanuel should be able to sign up.
Yeah, I'm done.
Then you're done. Okay. Where is Femi? Are you able to sign up?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Okay. Okay, that's not this. Okay. So after you have signed up, do you now see sign into console? Maybe you should log back in. Now enter aws.amazon.com one more time. And then tell me, confirm that you are seeing sign into console there.
Yeah.
Oh, great. So you are going to click sign into console.
Mm-hmm.
Then you leave the radio button on root user. And then you come here and enter the email address with which you created the account. just your email address. And then you say next. And enter your password. Please save your email address and your password. What we all need them to know.
Quick question. So after the congratulations, so I should go ahead and sign into the console.
Okay, so go
or go to the AWS management console. I don't
enter AWS. Enter this again one more time. aws.amazon.com.
Okay.
URL.
Okay.
And then confirm that you can see this red box. Sign into the console.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
click that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that makes the root user. Okay.
Yeah, leave as is and then just enter your email address. The same email address that you use to. Need to go to work now. All right, Emmanuel, you're allowed.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so after that, we'll click next and then provide your password and then you do sign in. So this is AWS. All right, so this is AWS. This is the cloud. All right, we're not here for cloud actually. We'll do this, but let us go straight to EC2 and set up our machine. So instead of searching everywhere for EC2, why don't you just, instead of clicking up and down, why don't you just click here and say EC2? This is virtual servers in cloud. You search for EC2 there and EC2 will come up here. So you click EC2. EC2 is the name that AWS calls servers in cloud. So you want to set up a server in cloud, so you go for EC2.
Sorry, how did you get here? I just signed in, sorry.
So are you in AWS console now? You around here now? You are here, go to your search box there and type EC2.
Okay.
And then you click EC2.
Okay.
All right, so let us launch a server in cloud and put Linux operating system there so that we can have a live server to practice it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. So after searching for EC2.
Yeah, once you type EC2 there, click EC2, look at it. Can you see? Under services, click this EC2. Does it come up? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so click EC2. And then it brings you to this window. So we want to say launch instance. So you come here and you say launch instance. Launch instance. It means spin up a server. Of the many virtual machines, of the millions of virtual machines in cloud, set up one for me. So give it a name. What name do you want to call this server? Maybe Linux server or anything like that, or just name it. We're on the same page now. All right. So we'll give the name Linux server or whatever name, maybe your name server. All right. Then, are you here? Is everybody here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes.
So you are saying spin up a server for me. And in that server, I want to run Mac operating system inside. Or I want to run Windows operating system. I want to run Red Hat operating system. So this is where you choose the operating system you want in your server. Red Hat, SUSE, Debian, all of. Okay. So Debian is.
Sorry for interruption. Please, how do you, when you sign in, how do you launch? You just launch directly once you do on EC2, right?
Where are you? Did you type EC2 here?
Yeah, I type EC2.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you come here to launch instance.
Okay.
And you say launch instance.
Launch.
Provide the name for your instance. And here, take the operating system that you want your instance to launch with. So for now, just take Amazon Linux, this first one. It's already highlighted, so just take that one. So among the many options of operating systems that you can take, we're using the Linux operating system by Amazon. There are actually over 600 different types of Linux. By the way, Linux is open source operating system. So that means that Linux is just there for anyone to take the source code and customize and make their own. It is not like Microsoft that you have to buy from. It's not like Windows that you have to buy from Microsoft. Linux is open source. So for that reason, there are many different varieties, different dialects of Linux. But we don't call them varieties, we don't call them dialects, we call them distributions. So there are different distributions of Linux. There's Amazon Linux, there's Ubuntu Linux, there's Red Hat Linux, there is SUSE Linux, there is Debian, there are so many of them, But for now, we're just working with Amazon Linux, so take that one. Let's scroll down. We're not touching anything, and I'm not here to teach you any of these things. We will deal with them on computer. But the only other place that I want you to touch something is here. Can you see this? Key pair name. May I identify that? Did you find that on your page?
Okay.
Key pair name. So go there and create a new key pair. And enter a name here. Maybe you should call it Linux class key pair. Or November class key pair. In my own case, I called it November class key pair. So this is the name, that November class key pair. You may want to call it the same name for your own, or a name that you can use with me.
What's the key pair type?
So when you say create key pair, don't touch anything. Just leave it as a RSA. Just only provide the name here. November key pair. That's all. And then you say create key pair. So leave the type as it is. RSA.pair. And then a copy of that key pair will be downloaded to your computer, to your system. You need a download. It's your padlock and your key. You need it in your system. We'll talk about it later, how to use it. But for now.
So quick question. So where do we save the key pair?
You should download by itself.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
You download by itself. You go to your download folder, see if it's already downloaded.
Okay, yeah.
Or if it's there, okay. Yeah. Okay, so once you provide those two, the name of the machine and the key pair, then you are good. That's all. As for the other things, don't worry about them because, like I said, I've said many times, when we do AWS, we'll look at those ones. So once you complete those two, you say launch instance. So we have launched our instance. We now have a server in cloud running Linux operating system. If you click that link, you would see your server. This is your server. Right. You've created your first infrastructure in cloud. It is an EC2 running a Linux operating system. And the next thing you want to do now is connect to this server so that we can see the operating system and begin to practice it. We're now learning how do you use Linux operating system to achieve what management wants. What they speak to you in the boardroom in English, how do you convert that to technical jobs and implement on your server on behalf of the company? All right, so can you see that? Whatever name you called it, can you see it now? In my own case, it's in this one. Everybody on the same page?
Yes.
Okay, who else is on this page?
No, I'm not. I don't know
Where did we lose you?
this particular screen.
I don't see your screen. What do you see on your screen?
I said, how did you get to this particular screen, like from the name?
Yeah, tell me where you are so that I'll take it from there. What do you see on your screen?
Okay. I'm still on launch.
Select.
On launch?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start all over from launch. So launch, can you see this? Launch instance?
Yes.
So take launch instance. When you get here, provide only two things here: the name of the instance, the Nov22, and then the key pair. Go there and say create key pair.
I already did that, and it downloaded on the laptop. I already did that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let me go ahead anyway so that I can get where you are. So I take that and I say launch instance. So I click this link, successfully initiated launch of your instance. Do you see this link?
Okay, I'll do that now.
Okay.
Yes, I got it.
All right, so I have two machines. The first one I pinned up, and then the second one I just pinned up. So, all right, guys, so we are ready now because we have a machine running Linux. So check the machine that you just pinned up, and then come here and say connect. And then when you get here, don't click anything else. Just go ahead and say.
Where did you find the connect? Oh, I see.
All right.
I don't see connect.
Because you're not checking only one server. You're probably checking more than two. Or you don't see it at all. Make sure you check only one server.
Yeah, I only have one.
And then make sure you are seeing, can you see this? New EC2. Make sure you are seeing my kind of view. So come here and click that.
Yeah.
Do you see connect now?
Where's your own connect? I can't see your own connect.
Look at my connect.
Oh, I see it now. Okay.
All right, so I click connect and I say EC2 instance connect.
Sorry, quick question.
Yeah.
So I think I have 2 running right now, and I want to go back to the first one.
Okay, so if you have, do you see this kind of screen on your machine?
Yes, initially I think I have that, the one I named, but then I think I created another one. So
what do you see now?
the new one, but without a name.
Yeah, it's okay. But if you want to name it, you can click this sign beside it.
Okay.
And then
okay.
So right now, mine is without it.
So, but the key, is it gonna, so the key I created will not work on this one?
Okay, leave the key, don't worry about the key. In another 20 minutes, we are destroying this machine, so don't worry about it. As long as you are seeing the machine,
okay,
let's work with. So I forgot to name it, so I'm going to name it now. Linux practice. All right, so now that you have the Linux, make sure it's checked, and then you go to connect, and then you go to instance. This is to instance connect, and you click connect. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this is your Linux. This is your command line interface, or your shell. Well, can you all see this? I mean, are you all able to get to this point? This is where we'll be in the next 1 month. This is where we'll be every time we come to point. This is where we want to get to. So who is not able to get here?
Yours is just showing 2 lines. Mine is showing like you've clicked. Oh, okay.
Clear the command to clear the screen. Clear. All right, so who is not here? Who is not able to get here? All 8 of us, or how many of us here? All 8 of us are able to get to this point? Or have been able to? Okay, so who is here now? Who is at this point where that we call the CLI, the command line interface? Here we don't use mouse. All right, we use keyboard to type our command. And whatever we type here, we call it Linux command. We type
Linux command, okay.
Yes, Linux command. If we type Linux command, yes, I don't know what you're talking about. If I say come to me, this I don't know what you're talking about. If I say what is my name, this I don't understand you. So what are the things that Linux understands and responds to? They are called commands. Example, clear the screen. Oh, I understand what you mean. And then it did that for us. Clear the screen. All right, so we want to start learning Linux command. But before we start, because once we start, we'll be carried away. I want to make sure that everybody is cool with this. So in case you are not able to get it in class, don't worry. Look at the notes. All right, so the note tells you step by step what to click. Can you see my note?
Yes.
All right, what to click in order to launch your EC2, and then how to give a name, where to type your name to the EC2. Right? It tells you that you should leave of all of the options that you have, you should leave Amazon Linux as the active operating system. And then don't touch that, just leave it as it is. And then the only other thing you provide is your key pair. Create your new key pair. All right. And then finally, leave those ones, don't change them. Finally, you click launch template. So that was how we arrived. All right. To connect to the interface, we'll click, make sure that is highlighted, and then we'll click connect. Can we see? And then that brings us here. This is where we are. All right. So everybody fine with that?
Yep.
All right.
I am.
Okay. All right. So let me just teach you 2, 3, 4, 5 command, Linux commands. Not too many in one day because. So now, no, I think I need to do some theoretical explanation. So, okay. So I can do. Let me explain something. So let me go back to my pen. Right? So that before you are entering the command, you know what you are typing. Now, let me show you something. You know, when we go to Windows, can you see my Windows environment? Can you see my Linux? Can you see me clicking stuff?
Yeah.
Now, in Windows, to open something, to open a folder, is very simple. I just go to the folder, I click. I go to the folder, I click. So I'm opening the folder desktop. All right. When I go to lecture notes and I double click, I just open the folder lecture notes and I'm seeing the content. When I want to see the content of the folder 2023, I double click and I open the folder. That is sweet. This is graphic user interface. I'm using my mouse to do stuff. I'm using mouse to do stuff. Whatever I want, I just write. It's so easy to do. Everybody knows this. All right? Graphics. Okay. So what about here? Look, I don't have graphics. Nothing to move, nothing to click to open a folder. In Windows, I want to create a new folder. I right-click and I say new folder, and I call it my new folder. That's it. What about in Linux? How do I create a new folder here? There's no windows to click, nothing. I mean, look at mine. So what I want to show you now is how do I even know where I am and how do I create a folder in Linux? All right. So print working directory, PWD. It means where in the world am I in this Linux hierarchy of directories. So it's telling me now that I'm in a directory called EC2 and in home. Okay, that's confusing. All right, so in Windows, from where is the base from where all of these directories germinate? This is the base. All directory, all folders are created in C drive. Look at them, all the folders. I'm sure somebody's confused. Let me go and explain. Can you see my pen brush? So the point I am making is there's always a place from where something, there's always a beginning. In the case of Windows, the beginning of everything is the C drive. So from the C drive, I can create a directory, desk, and call it desktop. In desktop, I can create a directory and call it rich. Inside rich, I can create a directory and call it Dan. I may decide that on the same C drive, I want to create another directory and call it Akin. Inside, by directory, I mean folder. I want to create a folder, call it Akin. So this is called the hierarchy. This is what I refer to as hierarchy. Inside Akin, I want to create a trainee or trainers. Inside trainers, I want to create a directory, a folder. But in Windows, in Linux, this is in Windows. This one, you don't appreciate that I'm doing this because I'm just using the mouse to click and everything is easy. But in Linux, there is no mouse to click. This is how it works. The directory that is already existing by default, from where all of the other, first of all, by directory, the word directory, I mean what Windows calls folder. So when I say folder or I say directory, it's the same thing. This is the Linux term or the Windows term, folder. Am I too fast now? Are you still copying? So when I'm speaking Windows terminology, I say folder. But when I'm speaking Linux terminologies, instead of saying folder, I say directory. It's the same thing. Now, the directory in Linux, from where every other directory germinates, is called the root directory. The root directory. So the root directory is the foundation, root directory, and it's represented by this sign, back slash. So in Linux, when I give you this sign, I'm saying, what am I saying?
The root directory.
Correct. Root directory is the foundation on which all other directories are formed. This is what I mean. Root directory. So this is what I mean. Let's take something you can relate with. So we'll take a building. Let's take a building, a 5-story building. So that's the fifth story, the fifth floor. You want to another one? What floor is that? 4. What floor is that? 3. What floor is that? 2. 1, 2, 3. Floor 1. All right. So after floor 1 or ground floor, what other floor is below? Yeah, we need to communicate so I know that you are following, so that I don't keep repeating what other floor is below ground floor? No other floor. That is the foundation, right?
Yeah, that's the root.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of the root. This is what we're calling the root. Without this root, all of this cannot stay. So this is the foundational root from where floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, floor 4 sprang up. So the equivalent of this ground floor in Linux is called root, and it's called C drive in Windows. But don't even worry about Windows because we're not doing Windows. So do you have an idea when we say root directory now? So beyond root directory, there is nothing else. It is the ground level, just like this is the ground level. Ground. You can build things upwards, but not below. All right. So there are many directories that come on the root directory by default. All right, but don't worry about them, at least not at this time. So how do we get to the root directory in Linux so that we can now see all the other directories that are on the root directory? The command in Linux is to say change directory, CD. CD means change directory. Change directory to what? To root. So this statement here is a command. It's a Linux command. It means change directory to root. Let us print type now so that don't worry, I'm not teaching you so many commands today. I just wanted you to have an overview since we're already here. So if I come here and I say change directory, are you seeing my screen?
Mm-hmm.
to root.
Yes.
Yeah. Change directory to root. I press enter. All right. If I now say print working directory, it tells me you are in root. Oh, this is the meaning. So this sign means I'm in root. Why am I in root? 2 minutes ago, I was in a directory called EC2 user on the 2nd floor, which was on top of the 1st floor, home, which was on the ground floor. So why am I on the ground floor now? Because I said, take me to the ground floor. CD root, change directory to root. And when I get to root, I'm not seeing the content of root like I will see in Windows. I need to manually say, show me the content of the root directory. I want to see everything on the root directory. The command is list, ls. Let me just get this to L, ls minus L. And when I do ls minus L, it tells me in the root directory, there is a directory called var. There's another directory called USR. These are the different directories in the root directory.
So when I did the change directory root, it says no such file or directory. Is there a space between?
Hold on. At this point, you would forget about your system and focus on. I just wanted to make sure that when you're able to practice on your own by creating that account. Now that you have created that account successfully, so leave the system now and then focus on me practicing, and then later you can practice on it. Because okay. At this point now, you cannot combine the two of them. I'm happy you're able to create the account. You're able to spin up an EC2 server for your practice. All right, so let's do it together now. So watch my system, don't practice. So let me start all over. So when I see print working directory, I'm saying where in the hierarchy of things am I? And then it tells me this is where I am. I say, I don't want to be here. Take me to the root directory. Take me to my base. Take me to my home. The command to do that is cd slash, space slash. That's the command to take me to root directory. So I press enter. Well, I still don't know where I am. So to find out where have you taken me, did you obey my instruction? Did you take me to where I said you should take me? The command is print working directory. Then you press enter. And then it tells you, you are now in root. I said, take me to root directory, and you took me to root directory. Fine, it worked. So this is one of the 100 commands that you'll be learning. cd root. pwd is another command. What does it do? It tells you where your current place, your current working directory, the directory you're working. And then clear is another command. It clears this thing. All right. Any questions so far? We'll stop there. We'll not learn more commands today. I just wanted to give you a feel of how to type in commands and how the command works. All right, so let me let you practice these 3 commands. So if you see on your command line interface, your Linux command line interface, see if these commands work for you like it works for you. Type pwd and see if you can interpret the result. Then type cd / and then say pwd again and see. Once you're able to do that successfully, that will be all for the first day. And then I'll show you how to terminate, how to bring down your server. Otherwise, you begin to incur charge from Amazon, running your server indefinitely. You'll exhaust your 750 hours. And then they'll begin to charge the credit card or debit card. So Femi, are you able to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Olajumoke, you get it up to this point?
Yeah, I got it. I'm trying to do it on my own, but I don't know.
All right, so Celia is at work. Who is Akin?
Yes, this is Akin.
Okay, Akin, yeah. Okay, are you getting it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
No.
I'm actually at the prompt now. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now.
Yeah,
Okay, now you getting it?
yeah.
Okay, now is the IT guru, right?
I'm not IT guru. I've done most of this, but I'm not IT guru. But I've done most of this already, but I'm not IT guru.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, people like Okena can support you on the forum. So if you have issue, take a screenshot, put it on the forum, and say I'm stuck here. I don't know how to get out.
I'm in class, I told you.
He just put his hand and poop on the bed.
Why do you guys keep him?
All right. Okay, so everybody knows this, right? So once you are done with practice, the next thing you want to do is you can exit or simply close this window. And then it brings you back here. Go back to your EC2 or so click your EC2. Come here, click EC2. And then it brings you here. Click your running EC2s. It shows you the EC2s that you have running, that you have pinned up. You have, in this case, I have 3 instances running. All right. I want to make sure it's, I want to remove the instances that will just be consuming my free allowance from Amazon. So these 2, I'm done with them. This one, I'm using it to, I think I'm even done with this. Why didn't I remove it? I'm done with this. So this is for my DevOps class. Yeah, I'm done with that. So I'll delete it as well. But in your case, you have only one. So take that one, and then you click it, and then you go to instance state, and you say terminate instance. Terminate instance. So that way you can now sleep with your eyes closed, knowing that you don't have any instance running that Amazon will be billing you. Forget the.
Excuse me, sir. So from the other page, did you say we type exit?
No, just close the window like this. Can you see my screen? Close. Press that. Click that sign from the other page. All right, so I come back here, I refresh my screen. So I have only 2 now. So I come back here and I say instance state, terminate instance. And I say terminate.
So we should close it, terminate it now.
Yeah, I mean, unless you still want to practice after class, yes. But if you want to say, okay, I've learned all of that, I want to do 3-4 hours of practice. But whenever you are ready to, whenever you are done with practice and you are shutting down for the day, make it a habit to always terminate your.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sometimes you terminate is still there and you're wondering, why terminated? Then just refresh your screen. And it will be done. And then this one more time, I click this and I say terminate my instance. Terminate. Terminate. Yeah. And this one I was even running a heavy instance that I was paying for. So it's good that I came here to terminate. So if I refresh now, all my instances are gone. So next time I want to practice, I repeat that same process of.
I'm sorry, where's the terminate button? I don't know. I have to always open the Zoom and go back to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, every time I respond to you, you don't tell me, okay, you don't respond back, so I don't know how you are doing. So
Oh,
for the
I'm
first
sorry.
time, you said, okay. All right, so terminate instance.
So mine is still showing after time. I mean, I've tried to refresh and it's still.
But when it's showing,
Mhm.
does it show active or it shows terminated in front of it?
It says terminated,
So you don't have problem, don't worry. You're good.
even though it's still there.
Yeah, even though it's still showing. Yeah, you know, sometimes even IT is not perfect. So yeah. Well, as long
Okay.
as it's showing terminated, it will ultimately disappear from you.
Okay.
For example, now if I come here and so look at my amount, they are now also showing, but they are all terminated.
But yeah, that's what I see on mine.
Yeah. I will not worry about it. All right. So it's just 2 hours for Linux classes. That is enough to cover the whole Linux. You are still new to IT. We don't want to put too much pressure, but when we get to AWS, it will be 3 hours a day. But for now, 2 hours a day is okay. Introduce it. All right. I can take questions. We still have yeah, as long as questions are coming, I can take them. Any question that will help you understand the fundamentals, not complex.
I have a question.
Okay, yeah. You're sounding faint though. Can you come close to your?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I have a question, but it's not like directly related to this, right? I just wanted to know, so when it comes to the educational part, how do you how are you going to because I don't have, I did not have an IT background, but then I'm now doing IT. So then how do you put that, factor it in your CV or your resume or anything?
You write a certification. A certification is enough to migrate you from a non-tech background to IT. And that certification will recommend AWS Solutions Architect.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be the bridge crossing you from your current career to IT.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, another question? So your AWS trainer will be giving you a lot of materials and support. And even your own colleagues assessment. Like I was sharing with you, I even had to get material from some of you who recently passed the certification, the material that they use. So we'll have this material, I'll be sharing some of them with you. But I'm not promising that they will do the magic, but at least they will support your preparation. All right, so I'll send you this note, and then I strongly advise that to start right away. Yeah, any other question? All right, guys, no more questions. That'll be all for today. What's today? Today is Wednesday. So next class will be Monday next week, Monday the 7th. All right. And then 1, 2, 3. Wow, we still have 4 weeks of class after this week. More than enough to cover the curriculum. All right, guys. So see you on Monday next week at 6 p.m. Texas time. But in the time being, if you have any queries, please feel free to take a snapshot, screenshot, and leave them on the forum, the WhatsApp forum, so that myself and what was that? Myself and Okina can support you guys. And tell you, this is what you are doing wrong. All right, thank you, everyone. See you next week.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.